I'm here today in the CBD corner of our retail store and pharmacy, giving you tips on buying and using CBD products. In general, it's great to find brands, and this doesn't just go for CBD, but all products. You want to find brands that are transparent, not just that you can see through the bag, but the fact that they share willingly all of the information around quality of their product. And one of the ways that you can know if a brand is transparent is that they put the test results right on the bottle. So as you can see here, they're talking about pesticides and herbicides and microbial testing, and then the yield of CBD in the bottle and the lot numbers and all that wonderful stuff. So a quality brand does everything right, and they're proud of it, and they share that information willingly with the retailer and the consumer. So a good indicator of quality is how transparent the brand is about quality and how much information they're willing to share. This tip is about quality. In particular, the tests that need to be done around CBDs and CBD products. The first thing we need to test for is pesticides and herbicides. So remember, CBD comes from hemp, which is a plant, so it's growing outside. So there's commonly used pesticides and herbicides, so we don't want to make sure that those end up in our CBD product. Secondly, hemp is kind of a sponge. It's called a hyperaccumulator. So it sucks up all the nutrients and good stuff from the soil, but it also sucks up all the junk too. And as a result, you can end up with heavy metals in your CBD product. So it's important that the CBD brand you use tests for both pesticides, herbicides, and heavy metals. During the grow process, all of those things can get in or on the plant and then end up in your final product, and we don't want that at all. And finally, a test that needs to be done is for solvent agents. So if you think about CBD, it's an active ingredient inside of hemp, and it has to be pulled out, equated to squeezing the juice out of an orange, right? So we use extraction agents to pull the CBD out of the hemp. And there are good ways to do that, like CO2 extraction or using alcohol. And then there's the horrible, cheap, but effective ways to do it that some companies do, like using industrial solvents that are carcinogens. So we obviously want to make sure that those things aren't included. So when you're looking for a quality CBD, make sure that they're testing thoroughly for pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, and residue solvents from the extraction process. Buying CBD is confusing, to say the least. This tip is your best bet to level the playing field when you're trying to compare brands. Let's say you have two brands and you want to see which one is a better buy. How do you do so? You have to do math, unfortunately, so break out your calculator app, pencil, paper, and if you're like me, Tylenol for any headaches that may occur. The secret is to use a formula, and the formula is calculating the cost per milligram. So you take the total cost of the bottle and you divide it by the total milligrams of CBD in the bottle. Let me give you an example. In our example, we're going to use a brand that somebody presented to us yesterday to say, hey, what do you think of this brand? The customer was buying it, and it was a bottle of CBD that had 500 milligrams and cost $64.99, so we'll just say $65. If you use our formula, it's $65 divided by 500 milligrams, or 13 cents per milligram. That's a good price, because there's some on the market that are like 40 cents a milligram. Compared to ours, the same approximate size, 600 milligram bottle is $57. That's 9.5 cents per milligram. So if the brands were equal, which I'm assuming that they were from a quality perspective, she would be overpaying by about 37% just by choosing the other brand over ours. So the cost per milligram is really your secret weapon to comparing CBD products. It's the best way to cut out the confusion and, at the very least, ensure you're not getting ripped off when buying CBD. This tip is super quick and super simple. Most CBDs come as liquids. I've got a little bottle here, and they have a dropper attached to it. The problem is that a dropper is not a specific unit of measure. It's actually a very inaccurate way to measure anything. Drops can vary depending on how hard you squeeze, or the length of the dropper can be longer or shorter, so the amount of medicine that you're getting at any given time can vary. So our tip is to skip the dropper and use a calibrated, standardized, beautiful, oral syringe. So an oral syringe is calibrated so every 0.1 ml will be about 2 drops, and 1 ml will be about 20 drops. So when it comes to taking medicine or supplements, especially CBD, getting a consistent dose is important. You don't want 18 milligrams one day and 25 milligrams the next. So skip the dropper, just use it to keep your bottle nice and tight, and use an oral syringe instead.